Assalamu alaikum. This has given me an opportunity to speak after speaking to my mother. That was probably the hardest moment of my life, telling her I was Muslim. She did cry. My middle sister refused to even speak to me about it. That is, inshallah, what it is. I'm not here to mince words. Me and Claire never really got on close. We were always distant and parted, and she always enjoyed the party life, the alcohol and other drugs and other shit that I just grew a part of after I left my teens and much of that life behind me. My hair's an absolute bum, so I apologise. And I lived much as I always have done. And after that business of Fier's, which I apologise about the drum playing off in the background, basically I was explaining my first real encounter with a real Muslim mullah. Lovely man. I know he's not here anymore. I mean, he was in his 70s when he was directing me to get on the ferry back to Gibraltar. Yeah, it was an incredible experience, being helped for no other reason than I needed help in an act of humanity. I said my shahada to Scott in private, generally because I am in religion normally a very private man. I'm going to try a lot harder not to judge people, but hopefully try to more guide those who come onto the sycophances, especially on Facebook or on places like TikTok, who just, the amount of hatred that is spat at people on a regular basis gets to be abhorrent, vile, nasty, unnecessary, disgusting. It wasn't only until when I met Scott and I saw much of what he did and watched much of how his sins rolled out of his life that I saw a connection between it. Now, he wasn't the only person. Nakarim, I think is his name, I might have the name wrong, somebody who talked to me in my DMs on TikTok a lot about Islam. There's also Sally Smile, and there was also ML Private, who I think is probably I think the camel straw that broke the back, which is one of the questions I was asked on TikTok, was when I heard the call to prayer and the other prayers that I don't understand the full words for, the voice and the pure passion behind calling to God when I was reading the words broke my heart. Listening to just the purity of the Islamic prayer was astounding. And I'm not usually shook for lack of words. I'm a very articulated person at the best of my times, and I tend to view Islam through their friendly human beings. I never thought myself that if you told me when I first opened these TikToks 2 months ago that I'd consider converting, I'd laugh. I'd laugh friendly, but I'd laugh. But it has been this continual movement, and the way that Scott Millam's behaviour, both good and bad, but he's shown that even Islam accepts sinners, and I definitely call myself a sinner. I am not a good man. I try to be, but I'm not. And I have made many mistakes in my life, but this isn't one of them. I was hesitant to say anything on TikTok about me converting to Islam simply because I thought that people would call me a clout chaser. I had considerable reservations in not doing so. And that's why the key first couple of me reading the Quran, me showing what I was doing, didn't have any hashtags. And I'm not so keen on the idea of hashtagging my Muslim stuff anyway, because I do think religion should be generally quite private. The symmetry of perfection in the Quran is something that strikes me. The way that God continually talks about both Christians and Jews and speaks to Muhammad, peace be upon him, the dignity and reverence that the Creator has for all mankind hit me like a body blow. And I mean, it is an incredibly beautiful book. And I'm not even capable of memorising it. I can continually try to reread certain things so I can remember it. My absolute goal is to memorise the Quran. I do want to do that. I think I'd like to do that. With my background in history, I think I could do it. I generally do. And I think that in upon itself would be miraculous. Having to memorise an entire religious book. Of course, I need to learn the hadiths and everything else. I'm just about able to pray. I've only done it 3 times today. I've had an extremely busy day, but I'm intending to improve every day for 5 times a day. I've cut pork out. I binned all my pork items. That I didn't tend to eat them anyway, but I bought them for the flat because I used to cook sausage-based materials for my landlady downstairs, who's also elderly, and I also look after her. I told her herself because she heard the prayer music I was playing loudly on my speakers. She goes, "That's a bit strange." I said, "Yeah, I'm a revert." She went, "Oh, well, lovely to have you in the building." I was kind of taken aback how relaxed a woman in her 70s took, so that was good. And that plucked up the courage for me to tell my mother. My baby sister isn't going to blink. She's not even going to think twice about it. I don't think she'll do more than take a double take. My mum was the hard thing, but that's, inshallah, under the bridge and done and dusted, and I don't need to worry about that anymore. I think that took a weight off my shoulders when I did it. It's not an easy conversation to have with your mother, who's a deeply Catholic woman. My father and I haven't spoken until before his death, and I will be honest, I don't regret not speaking to him. The man was one of the most original bigots. He's the reason I was driven towards, and it sounds peculiar, but he's the reason I was driven towards, when I was Christian, dating non-Irish or white women, because in some ways I thought it was incredibly bigoted and racist of him. Anyway, that's the end of my part 2. So far, from what I've read from the Quran and my ability to sleep at night every time I read it after prayer, after 11 o'clock prayer, is incredible. Absolutely incredible. I'm able to sleep 6 hours a night, and I haven't done that for years, absolutely years. There is a peace that comes inside me where there used to be rage. I was always angry about certain things. It's easier for me to control my language as well. I've always had a gift to articulate, to linguistically spit an apothecary of words to paper and pen, hence why I'm trying to be a writer. Though the storybook I've written is horror based, and I would probably guess it's entirely haram.